Ladies and gentlemen, Tactical Advance here, and welcome back to some more Star Citizen. Now today we are taking a look at the 350R. Now first off, looking at it, it does look fantastic, and I've said this before, I know we're going to have the ability to change the colour scheme, but this is probably a colour scheme that I'll probably go for, probably bar the yellow, might make it red or something, just so you can't be seen so obviously. Now obviously that is not going to help you in Vanduul Swarm, because I don't think that there's any camo value with AI, but I'm sure with other players there is. Now that the ball turret is not on here, and I've been using the fixed mounts, and I've been actually making myself use the fixed mounts, and the more I've started using them, I've started to realise that you have to change your playing style for fixed mounts if you're just going to use fixed mounts. We're going to do some Arena Commander, and I'll run through that when I get into that. Well, first of all, it does look absolutely fantastic ship, doesn't it? It looks absolutely lovely, and you can see all the manoeuvre thrusters on the rear there. There's 6 there, 3 on either side. And when I rotate this way, I don't know if you can see the other ones. You can actually see the nose ones there. Actually, oh, without hitting a rock or something. Just press inserting on. You can see the front ones there. Now, I noticed when I did my last 300 video that the thruster wasn't working, and it was actually updated in the patch notes. Let's better look where I'm going. Because there was an issue with one of the thrusters. So, that's been resolved. Now, one of the great advantage with all the 300 series are the fact that you get this absolutely fantastic view, guys. There's nothing hindering you on the screen here. Okay, you know, bar the heads-up display. I mean, like, you know, you don't have any bars running down the screen. Visually, when you're flying it, it's absolutely fantastic. For a great experience in a ship and great visibility, this is brilliant. I mean, because there's nothing blocking it at all, is there? So, 10 out of 10 on that one. Really like it. Now, the difference in the 300 series, obviously we got the 300, the 315, 325 and the 350R. Now, all the classes have obviously a specific role, and this one, it's classed as racing, but at the end of the day, it's something you can still use in the Persistent Universe, and you can still use it in Arena Commander. It's no difference really, just because it's actually classed as a racer. Some of the beneficial factors that you get with a ship like this when you're actually fighting is speed. Speed does help to some extent, right? Because obviously in some cases speed kills. It helps having the ability to pull away from a target and get range so you can shoot on the target. Now the reason I'm saying that is because if you're using fixed mounts, I found it a really good way to have some great fun. And a good example, let's just say if I was flying towards this rock now and I had someone you know, chasing behind me, what I would do is I'm probably going to crash now, but I'll fly close to the rock. Because what you're relying on with the fixed mounts, you're relying on them, and then I'll do a sharp turn now. And I'll wait for them to come around that rock now, come around this side. And I've done that a few times, and I'm just right next to the rock. And that works really well, because they fly past, and then you can then start shooting them. And one of the things you actually need to keep in mind when you're using the fixed mounts, if you get into close combat with another enemy, whether it's AI or a player, one of the challenges you have is actually getting a shot on your target. You know, it's a case of just trying to get the pit, you know, aimed as best as you can while you're rotating, while you're moving around. That's not necessarily a great thing. I mean, if you had a gimbal mounted, obviously then that's a good scenario for you then, because obviously you've got the gimbal and you can start taking them out. But as it stands at the moment, if you're just trying out using fixed mounts on their own, actually, do you know what? I had some absolute great fun. I would say, and it's quite surprising really, I had more fun actually playing with the fixed mounts than I did with the gimbal. But don't get me wrong, the gimbal is very good at close range, but I actually like playing that. I like that playing style, guys. I like flying away, flying behind a rock, and then turning to wait for the target to fly past and attack him, or to fly away using the speed of the ship to move away from him very fast, and then turn around so you can start shooting at range. Because these weapons are almost like a sniper. Don't get me wrong, they do some mega damage, but I think for me, I like doing stuff like this, and then just wait for him to come round. And that's what I really enjoy doing. I spend most of my times when I'm playing any game modes in the rocks. I love the rocks, guys. It's great fun weaving in and out of these. Anyway, look, let's jump into some Vandal Swarm, and we'll have a little bit more talk about some of the sort of things you can do to prolong your life when you're using, not just necessarily, fair to say, not necessarily just in the 300 series, but if you've got a fixed mount ship. So let's pop in and let's see how we get on. Okay, one of the things I found when I was using the fixed mounts and using the 300 series, I've sort of started changing my playing style now. Where if I was in a Hornet and I would see a group of Vandal, I'll be sort of relatively confident that I could fly towards them and take the hits and probably survive them. In the 300, there's a good possibility, I mean, and this goes with all the 300 series so far, there's a high possibility you're going to die. So what I've started doing is taking a more an evasive route, so fly to the left a little bit, go round, and then pick off a target that's leading away from the pack, rather than flying directly into the cluster. Because if you do that, then all that's going to happen is you're going to get absolutely nailed. With these fixed mounts weapons, what I found is they're quite good snipers. Because when you're shooting over range, the target is not as moving as fast as it is obviously when it's in close range. So it's a lot easier, well, I say a lot easier, that's a bit of an understatement, but it's easier to aim over distance. And in this scenario now, when you're sort of going, you know, rotating around, it can be very difficult and you can take some hits, particularly if there's a big group of Vandal attacking you at the same time. So the other thing you need to keep into consideration, which I've started to think about this a lot more now we started getting the bigger ships, is situational awareness. Not just about the situation that's occurring, but the objects that are around you. Now, depending what ship you're in and what you're flying past, you have to understand how big your ship is and what sort of gap you can get through. And then once we get into these larger ships, I think you're going to be hitting a lot more objects. So over range, like I said, find it a lot easier shooting over range and doing some big damage. And then once they're sort of damaged and maybe on their own, I'll start sort of tangoing with them at close range, because then I'm sort of confident enough that I'm not going to get swarmed by 2 or 3 Vandal and get absolutely owned. But keep getting range, keep coming back, and I'll just keep replicating that, and it's just worked really well for me, and I like flying around the rocks as well. I haven't seen any of the Vandals so far crash into a rock, which is a bit odd. You would have thought they might just crash every now and again. I've had a few scenarios where they've just not quite hit a rock, which looks a bit odd. Maybe it's just a bit of a bug in the game. Now, one of the other things I do as well, which you've got to be careful with the 350 and the racers, is once you're coming up a rear on a target, it's quite easy to power on past that target. Now, one of the advantages is when you're using the fixed mounts is obviously range. If you're keeping a target directly in front of you flying away, that means he's not moving up and down or left and right. So what I tend to do is when I see a target and I fly up behind him, I instantly decelerate. I decelerate to make sure that I stay on the rear of him and then don't give him the chance to actually turn, you know, stay on the tail of him. What I originally done before, when I first started playing, I sort of fly towards the target and I just flow past it at a phenomenal speed. And it still is quite easy to do that in the 350R because of the speed that it does. You know, I would say it's considerably faster than the other ships. But it works well with that sort of playing style, and that was a good example. So, for example, you could fly over into them rocks quite quickly, turn around to get range, come back in and do another shoot. That's what I keep... Oh, you could say it's shoot and scoot to some extent. So, gonna do the same thing again now. Let's move a bit further out. Now I've got a bit of range. You can see the other 2 there are going for other targets. I know they're going to fly past me now. Not an ideal scenario. So there's a few options you can do. You can try and going in very close in the 350R, but it's never worked out for me. I think with the ball turrets, yeah, you stand half a chance. And I think maybe once we get the armor in game, that things are going to be a lot easier. At the moment, it's very, very, very difficult with the fixed mounts in close range. There's one down. So I can come back into that pack again and see if I can take out this other guy. That's normally a bad scenario when there's about 2 or 3 flying towards you, because you know that if they get a direct hit on you, they're going to take the front shields, and if there's 2 of them, if the second one hits you, then they're going to do some damage to the actual ship. So in this case, totally decelerating now to the point where I'm just nearly stopped. The weird thing is, I don't know if you noticed, that the Vandal is actually shooting at something here. I don't know what. He's not actually shooting at me. There we go, that was a nice easy kill there. So it's a balance of using range over speed, really, because speed does kill in the faster ships. It's quite easy just to fly past your target, and then all of a sudden, from you going flanking him, all of a sudden he's flanking you within a couple of seconds. So in this case, it's totally stopped now. So he'd fly past. No rush now, he's not going anywhere, unless he comes directly towards me. I'm trying to sort of slowly move the cursor. There we are. Good scenario there. So all in all, that's been my tactic, guys. I don't know what you guys have been doing. How are you finding the fixed mounts? I know we do have the smaller ships as well, like the Aurora. I mean, that's going to. I haven't made a video on that yet, but that's going to be another quite challenging ship as well. This is a really good scenario as well. We keep right up behind him now. Decelerate, decelerate. And then just slowly pick him apart. Easily done. The next target. Now he's got two attacking now. Got him and his mate. That was a bit of a weird thing happened there. I decelerated. Just missing the rock. Bit of shakes there. Now I'm going to move out because I've got two of them on me now. I'm thinking, look, let's get some range on them and pick one of them off now. Try and draw them in. The good thing about drawing them into these rocks, they tend to break apart from their pack. So that's what I found anyway. Bit of blurry vision now. Can see both of them together. He's on his own. See if we can get some shots on him now. My perfect scenario at range. I'm going to decelerate. That's it. It gets confusing sometimes when you decelerate and you start shooting a target, particularly with a Vandal and they break apart. Good example, guys, how the speed how quickly you can accelerate in the 350R there. Literally from tracking him on the rear to flying past him like a bullet. I should have really decelerated there. Deceleration now. Bit of blackout. He's sitting duck now, really. I'm expecting his mates to come up on my rear probably shortly, so I want to kill him quick as I can. Very difficult to shoot once they have no wings and everything. Here we go. We're going to get a shot in now, hopefully. This is a really tricky scenario. When you're on the fixed mounts and you're doing this sort of close combat, particularly when you know you have to get that pointer in the centre, it's very difficult. In some cases, there is just a case of just shooting once you think you're going to fly over that centre section. So, all in all, fantastic ship. And do you know what? It's taught me quite a lot. It's changed my gameplay for them times that I'm going to be using fixed mounts. And that, do you know what? That could apply to quite a lot of times. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a single seater or you could be in a large ship. A ship that is 5-6 times the size. So it's definitely worth giving it a go and forcing yourself to do it every now and again, because it just does show you a different playing style. And maybe you could apply some of these sort of techniques into a gimbal mounted gun to have the best of both. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, fantastic ship. I'm still really enjoying using this ship, and I'm definitely going to be playing a lot more with the fixed mounts just to try and get better at that, just to sort of, you know, try and improve my own skill set and try and learn from what I'm doing at the same time. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed the video today. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye now.